Sometimes, agility and ingenuity beat sheer mass. Before Russia's full-scale invasion, the idea of Ukraine pushing the far larger Black Sea Fleet out of the region would have sounded absurd, yet that's largely what unfolded. Nearly 4 years into the war, the Black Sea balance still tilted toward Ukraine, as it had since the war's early weeks. This is the story of how Ukraine blunted Russia's fleet, and what that signals for the future of naval warfare. After independence in 1991, Ukraine inherited a small but capable navy. That advantage evaporated in 2014, when Russia seized or destroyed roughly three-quarters of it during the annexation of Crimea. Ukraine's best ships sat at the southern naval base in Donoslav Bay, while the bulk of Russia's Black Sea Fleet lay just 60 miles away in Sevastopol, a base the Russians have used since 1783, when Prince Potemkin founded it. On March 3, 2014, Russia blocked Donoslav's mouth, first by stationing the flagship cruiser Moskva across the entrance, then by scuttling the anti-submarine ship Ochakov and the rescue ship Shakhter, trapping 13 Ukrainian ships. They tried to break out, but were outnumbered and captured. By March 27th, when the minesweeper Cherkasy fell, the siege was over. Ukraine was down to one operational frigate, a handful of small patrol craft, and the loss of key bases, repair yards, and personnel. In the years that followed, the United States and NATO began rebuilding Ukraine's coastal defense, leaning into a mosquito fleet concept, small, fast vessels that could integrate with Allied operations. 2 island-class patrol boats arrived by 2018, with 2 more and Turkish Ada-class corvettes on order. Then Russia invaded. The Black Sea Fleet was at least 7.5 times larger than Ukraine's, which lacked corvettes, submarines, destroyers, and carriers. Moscow pressed that advantage hard. Within the first month, at least 27 Ukrainian Navy ships and 18 Coast Guard vessels were captured or destroyed, mostly around Berdyansk and during the siege of Mariupol. Ukraine scuttled its flagship F-130 Hetman Sahaidakhny, a Krivak 3-class frigate, in Mykolaiv to keep it out of Russian hands, but momentum soon shifted. On April 14, 2022, Ukraine's Neptune anti-ship missiles struck the Black Sea Fleet flagship Moskva, igniting fires, detonating ammunition, and sending the cruiser under while it was towed toward Sevastopol. 2 weeks later, Bayraktar TB-2 drones hunted 4 Raptor-class patrol boats near Snake Island, destroying 3 and badly damaging a 4th. TB-2S then eliminated a landing ship in the area. In June 2022, Ukraine sank the rescue tug Vasily Bek, reportedly with 2 Harpoon missiles. And on October 29th, Ukraine launched its first mass raid on Sevastopol using air and naval drones. Although that strike didn't cripple the fleet, it damaged the Natya-class minesweeper Ivan Golubets and the frigate Admiral Makarov, and set the tone for everything that followed. Ukraine would hit Russian ships at sea or pierside, and it could now do it with naval drones. Ukraine's answer to Russia's tonnage advantage was asymmetry. Replace major warships it didn't have with drones it could field quickly and in numbers. By 2023, the Navy had reconfigured around small patrol boats and rigid inflatable craft backed by a fast-expanding arsenal of sea drones, air drones, and anti-ship missiles. The effects snowballed. On May 24, 2023, the intelligence ship Ivan Kurs was reportedly damaged by sea drones. On August 4th, a Magura-style USV slammed into the landing ship Olenogorsky Gornyak near Novorossiysk, forcing it to be towed while Russian vessels scattered into the Black Sea. On September 13th, Su-24 bombers firing British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles shredded targets in Sevastopol. The landing ship Minsk and a KS-701 Tunets patrol craft were destroyed, and the Kilo-class submarine Rostov-on-Don was damaged beyond economic repair. The next day, the patrol ship Sergei Kotov was hit by a naval drone, and finished off by another in March 2024. On November 4th, cruise missiles struck the Zaliv yard in Kerch, damaging and possibly sinking the Kaliber-armed Karakurt-class corvette Askold. On December 26th, a major landing ship, Novorossiysk, erupted in secondary explosions and fires, with at least 74 crew killed and 27 wounded. Heading into 2024, naval drones, especially the Magura V5 family, did the most damage. Developed in Ukraine at roughly $273,000 apiece, the multi-mission USV can surveil, patrol, conduct SAR and mine countermeasures, secure waterways, and smash targets. It's about 18 feet long, displaces roughly 2,200 pounds, and carries up to 705.5 pounds of explosives for one-way strikes. A water jet grants a top speed near 48 miles per hour and a cruise around 25. Range extends to about 500 miles, putting most of Crimea and swathes of Russia's coast within reach. Redundant communications, mesh radio with an aerial repeater or satellite links help foil jamming, while GNSS, inertial, and visual guidance enable autonomous or remote control. A stealthy low-profile V-shaped carbon fiber hull rides barely 1.6 feet above the surface, and the platform can stream multiple HD feeds and operate in swarms, often with decoys to saturate defenses. The results were devastating. On February 1st, 2024, Magura sank the Tarantul-class corvette R-334 Ivanovets in Donoslav Bay. Weeks later, they sent the landing ship Cesar Kunikov to the bottom of Crimea. On June 6th, they sank the tug Saturn. Russia tried to adapt. After the October 2022 Sevastopol raid, it layered nets and booms, stepped up patrols, flew helicopters, deployed anti-diver dolphins, and mounted more guns. Much of it didn't matter. By April 2024, roughly a third of the Black Sea Fleet, 27 of 80 vessels, including a submarine, was sunk or disabled. The British Ministry of Defense judged the fleet functionally inactive. Moskva's loss stung twice. It was only the second cruiser sunk in combat since World War II, after Argentina's ARA General Belgrano in 1982, and it was the only ship in theater with an area air defense suite for an entire formation. Without it, Russia shelved any amphibious landing near Odessa. Under unrelenting pressure, Russia began pulling back in late 2023. On July 15, 2024, the last major warship quit Sevastopol. Many hulls shifted to small bays in eastern Crimea or along Russia's coast, but most fled to Novorossiysk, about 186 miles east, where, as former Royal Navy Captain Tom Sharp noted, their finding nowhere is truly safe. Ukraine widened the campaign in 2025 with kinetic sanctions, systematically degrading refineries, logistics nodes, and strategic industry to choke Russia's war economy. On January 6th, Ukrainian sea drone motherships launched FPV drones near Kherson, remotely piloted from shore, and wiped out two Panzer S-1s, an OSA AKM, and two S-300 systems, an estimated $350 million blow. A few days earlier, on New Year's Eve, Maguras reportedly fired missiles that destroyed two Mi-8 helicopters and damaged a third. In May, a sea-based Magura fired AIM-9 Sidewinders and downed a Russian Su-30, an event Moscow denies, before a second Su-30 fell later that day. This likely marked the debut of the Magura 7 variant. On August 21st, Ukrainian military intelligence reported a patrol boat struck near Zelensky port in Kherson Oblast, killing 5 crew. A laser-designated USV-launched missile did the job. On September 24th, QRC drones hit oil terminals at Tuapse and Novorossiysk, temporarily paralyzing exports from hubs like Transneft's complex and the Caspian Pipeline Consortium terminal, facilities that together can move around 2 million barrels per day and underpin Russia's shadow fleet operations. Meanwhile, Ukraine unveiled the modular Barracuda USV, optimized for rivers and coastal shallows, fitted to carry different weapons, and reportedly equipped with AI features for threat detection, navigation in complex waterways, and operator workload reduction. Russia is learning too. In April 2025, Vladimir Putin announced a decade-long, $100 billion naval expansion to patch the vulnerabilities Ukraine exposed. Kirilo Budanov, Ukraine's defense intelligence chief, quipped that the Black Sea Fleet is now fully blocked, with Russia facing the same just a few boats, jibe at once aimed at Ukraine. Moscow has toughened coastal defenses and accelerated its own USV programs. Analysts note that at least half a dozen current Russian designs, Vizier, Morena, Orkan, Bek 1000 and more, take cues from Ukraine's boats, with roles ranging from ISR to serving as carriers for drones, missiles, rockets, and other strike payloads aimed at Ukrainian USVs and shore targets. In August 2025, Russia claimed its first successful USV strike, sinking the Ukrainian reconnaissance ship Simferopol near the Danube. It's also experimenting with the Katran, a naval drone carrier meant to launch dozens of FPV kamikaze drones out to roughly 125 miles. Whether these measures restore control is unclear, but the lessons are echoing worldwide. Admiral Sir Ben Key, former First Sea Lord of the Royal Navy, has called crewless vessels and automation a dreadnought moment, akin to the early 1900s revolutions in propulsion, gunnery, and armor that forced navies to rethink everything. Ukraine's successes illustrate both what offensive options navies should cultivate and how urgently they must overhaul their defenses. Others are already moving. China, Iran, and North Korea are racing ahead with AI-enabled naval drones inspired by Ukraine, while NATO navies are fielding their own unmanned systems and counters. Just as inexpensive FPV quadcopters have shredded expensive armor on land, swarming sea drones threaten to upend dominance at sea. Imagine small, lethal, Houthi USVs harrying a US carrier group. What once seemed implausible now merits serious planning. The new maritime arms race is on. If you want more deep dive reporting and analysis from Ukraine and beyond, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a briefing. Thanks for watching.